Welcome back to the Sports World with Patrick, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of sports with some of the most interesting and inspiring people in the industry. I'm your host Patrick, and today I have two very special guests joining me from the Oklahoma State men's club hockey team. They are making waves in their league, and today I'm lucky enough to sit down with two of their standout players, Thomas Lambo and James Dunne. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
I'm really excited to have you both on. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with your hockey journey. Thomas, you've been playing hockey for a while. How did you first get into hockey and what made you choose to play at Oklahoma State?
So I started hockey. I started skating basically when I was like, say, 5 or 6. I used to live in Ontario. I was a big Toronto Maple Leafs fan. I used to look up to Matt Sundin, and one of my neighbors, he had like this wooden hockey stick, and I just like started going over there more often and started playing. And then I moved out to Alberta when I was like around 7, 8, and I started playing with my minor hockey team. And over that time, I started to have a love and passion for hockey. My parents didn't like it because they were used to traveling. So we would lived in a big city and a small city, and like we'd have to drive maybe 3 hours, 4 hours to play against certain teams. And then once I finished high school, I took 2 years off and then just had time to like focus on school more. And then there was a local team that had a junior team that I kind of grew up around, and I played for a few years, and I just fought a lot and just was like just a tough guy on the team. And then I graduated on my undergrad, and then 2 years ago I was just like, oh, let me look at other schools that I can pursue my master's at. And I was talking to a few schools, and then I was just like, let me focus more on school. Then I decided to pick Oklahoma State. I got in contact with the president, and then we kind of discussed more or less how the program is. And since then, I've been more or less loving it and kind of want to still grow this program and everything since I'm graduating this year.
That's awesome, Thomas. Obviously, being in Canada, with Canada being, or hockey being Canada's game right now, it's incredible. I go to Detroit in the Detroit Windsor area, and I think that was the first time I have ever heard anybody from Quebec talk on the phone. Obviously, with Ontario right there, it's really cool to see. James, how about you? How did you get into the game?
Um, I'd say for me, I just got into it with my family. I remember by the time I was born, I had four older siblings that were all kind of playing hockey and getting it. So by the time I was born, it was like, yeah, you're gonna go play hockey. And so I actually started out when I was 5 years old. I was playing roller hockey to start at a rink that was pretty close because that was pretty big in St. Louis. And then from there, I casually moved up and then started playing ice hockey. And I played ice hockey all the way to my senior year. And I got to my senior year and I thought I was done playing. I thought, all right, well, time to hang up the skates. I don't see juniors. I just want to go to college. And then I came to Oklahoma State and I'm like, oh, OSU has a hockey team. Like, okay, that sounds pretty fun. I didn't join right away. And then I was like, all right, I miss hockey. It's right here. And I actually got recruited when I saw him. I saw Thomas at a tailgate. I'm like, oh my gosh, that jersey's sick. He goes, yeah, thanks. I play on the hockey team. And I told him, we talked for a while. And then he's just like, you want to come to a skate? I was like, sure. And then after the first skate, I fell in love with it. And I've been playing hockey ever since.
Yeah, James, I remember when I had your sister Josie. She said you guys were all very competitive against each other. And it's obviously great to hear both from you, Thomas, and James, how much you guys have found your way at OSU. Now, club hockey often comes with a unique mix of competition and camaraderie. What do you think sets your team apart from others in your league?
Say like our growing level, like our name. This year we had a lot of like this was not our greatest year, but we still have the market of growth with our team. Like we last year we packed a lot of fans. This year some of our home games we did get some fans, but this year we had a bedlam and we got to 11,000 fans. So like we have a lot of support behind us from like the Tulsa, OKC, and Stillwater community, and just the traveling. We had a lot of opportunities to fly around and everything, and still just develop also, and also do student athlete stuff, and like you still have that feeling of the NCAA, but not really at the same time. So uh, we work out and everything. We have like travel coordination. Like we still have to like produce as much good grades and everything like that. So I'd say that was the main thing that kind of sets us apart from other teams, that we have the travel, the fan support, and everything compared to other schools that don't have as much funding or anything like that.
Yeah. And so I have this question for both of you guys here. I know in the South, it's sort of not, hockey's not the big thing. It's obviously college football or even college basketball. I know it's really, really tough there to gather fans, definitely in the fall when you guys are beginning to play for at the beginning of the season. What do you guys think has been the big thing? Because Thomas, as you mentioned, you're from Ontario. It's a big hockey market, and then James, you're from St. Louis, another big hockey market. You know, I know you guys probably have seen the changes, the differences between being in a traditional hockey market versus the non-traditional markets. What has been the one thing that has set sort of the program apart at the level where fans are coming in almost every single game?
I would say to answer that, coming from St. Louis, hockey's a big thing. I mean, you got the Blues there. Lindenwood has a D1 team, got a great high school hockey league, and that's AAA. Hockey's big at St. Louis. And it's continuing to grow. Coming down to Oklahoma State, it was a little bit of a shock. What I realized about the fans here, like whenever you'd go and say, yeah, we talk about hockey, it would be the first thing that come out of their mouth. This, you guys have a hockey team? That'd be the first thing. But for the most part, I mean, I would say that like the students here and everyone's really passionate about Oklahoma State and about their sports. And I talk to like you can talk to guys in a frat. You can go talk to someone on the street, and they're like, "Oh, hockey! I've never watched it before, but that sounds awesome. Like, I want to go." And I remember my first year playing. I was shocked with how much support we got from people that haven't watched hockey or haven't devoted much time, but are coming to these games like, "This is exciting. This is awesome. Like, never seen this before." And it's just, I realized that they're just passionate, and they haven't had a lot of knowledge or a lot of exposure to the game, but they love it. And that's been one thing that I've seen here that is kind of shocked me, but it's been very exciting and it's been very awesome.
Yeah, and, like, we had to get into creative ways on, like, spreading the hockey awareness on campus. Like, last year, me over the summer, I decided to kinda make this frat hockey tournaments. We had all the fraternities play, and then the hockey players would ref it, and then we'd work with, like, this NIL thing through a school called Brand Squad, and we put on this tournament, like, Beta Theta Phi, and we get, like, probably this year we had 11 fraternities, last year we had 8, and they played to win something trophy, and then like we donate all the profits to like an organizations. We had the we had the chance to spread it. Like there was kids I didn't even know that used to play hockey, and they brought their own sticks to the frat hockey tournament. This was last year. So a lot of the frat guys enjoyed it. A lot of people were like walking past on Greek Realm, like that's cool, like watching hockey and everything like that. So I think that's one thing that's kind of grown and everything. And OSU fans are just passionate about anything OSU Cowboys.
Hmm.
Like that's the one thing.
That's obviously awesome to hear. Definitely with the Greek life, I can just imagine how exciting that had to be for you guys. It obviously seems like a perfect environment to grow, both as a player and as a team. Now I've got to ask, what has been one of your guys' favorite moments playing for OSU so far?
I'd say my first year we played against OU. We beat them. That's like because that's our rival. We played a 2 game, but first game we played at their rink, and then we moved to the BOK Center where the Tulsa Oilers play. So we had to wait a lot. Like we had like 7,000 fans, 6 to 7,000 fans, and we beat them. This was like in 2022, and that year our football team lost to OU. So like we had the upper hand winning for that. And then I'd say another thing is flying to Georgia. We played against University of Georgia and Georgia Tech. Cool experience. We got to go fly, look around Atlanta area, and then go to Athens. And it was a pretty good opportunity, getting close with the guys and everything. So yeah.
I'm trying to recall. I have a couple good memories I can think of. One that comes to mind though, from last season was it was our last game of the semester before going into winter break. We played Mizzou, and that game was just so exciting. Like the whole effort, like, this team was way more skilled than us, and so we're just like, yeah, we gotta hit them, and we gotta play physical. And I just remember it being exciting, and like that was like it was a moment. I'm like, our team completely rallied together, and it was just an incredible game. And I would say for me that was probably one of my best moments.
I don't know. Have you guys gotten invited to the Kentucky Madness game or Midnight Madness game?
I've heard of it. I totally want to check it out someday. I've
Yeah.
heard about that though. Yeah.
I had the University of Cincinnati, their team. They got a chance to go to it, and they were literally like, it doesn't even feel like a midnight game. Like it feels like it's being played at like 7 o'clock at night. And it's obviously incredible, guys. I know mental toughness and how hockey is very mentally straining as well as physically straining. What have been like the key things you guys have been doing throughout the season to remain mentally focused, given, academics that you have to watch for and, and playing on the team itself while also not being too injured physically?
This year, like I felt like we went through a lot, even just injuries, just even with our team, it's like just things just happened that we didn't really expect. And like our record wasn't the greatest, but it's just like the same time, I thought I'd never experience this moment. So at the same time, I'm grateful at like that kind of got me going is being grateful of what like I've accomplished and kind of more or less I'm happy to be here. And secondly, I like for mental or like just recovery, I'm a big person advocate for like gym recovery. I'm always in the gym 24/7 and just kind of heal my body, work on some mobility, just lifting and everything like that. Looking for a lot of advice on the internet or talking to my past trainers is one big thing that I kind of take very priority and everything. And also my teammates constantly. I live with two of my teammates, and I'm always around the guys. So like if I have any issues, we kind of rally together and kind of figure out and solve our issues and everything like that if something is going on.
Yeah. Oh, you can go. Sorry.
Um, I would just say for me, I'm gonna build off what he said. I think that, there's a lot to be grateful for in the fact that something's not going your way, but you can look at the fact that like, we're here in college, we're healthy, we're playing the game that we love. And so what things aren't going your way, you just got to keep going. You got to keep working hard. You got to keep doing your thing. That's one thing I always try and keep in the back of my mind is like, then the result doesn't matter. It matters the effort's the more important thing is that you gave it your all. And I would say for me, like when I'm down, like one thing that I loved about this team was like I love the guys. And honestly, that's like a lot of the reason that I stick around is because the guys on this team are great. Like one of the best groups I've ever been with. They're awesome. And they're able to like this mentality, one person's down, we're able to pick someone up, and not even coming from leaders, it could come from anyone. The ability is like someone's down, you pick them up. And that's kind of seems like a culture thing that we've set going forward, especially in a year, wasn't I wasn't necessarily the best we could do. It was struggled a little bit, not what we expected, but you give your all and create a culture and like there's positives that come out of it. So
Yeah, and so I'm gonna ask you guys this question also because I sort of want to build on top of the mental toughness. I know communication is a big thing when playing hockey, And Thomas, obviously, you've been fortunate to play both in Canada and in the United States. What was the biggest difference in the way communication is handled between the leadership group of a group of players, definitely at the club level because it's mainly student ran, with coaches, and then James, for you. I know you were in Missouri. What was the biggest difference you had to go through when you went to OSU with the communication on the team?
So for me, I'd say in Canada, our coaches are really like they kind of say how it is, take it or leave it or anything like that. So like they're gonna say stuff that like you may not agree or just like that might seem bad, but honestly it means a lot to like they really care that you need to improve and everything like that. And then coming down here, especially like I'm a little bit older, our coaches just say how it is, but like now like you're coming down to a university, you have freshmen, different age group of kids. So you got to be careful on kind of how our coach kind of speaks to them because you see a lot of these freshman kids coming in a little bit immature and stuff like that. But over the years, they'll get better. So the way of communication is more constructive criticism rather than saying how it is or just like get your eggs in all in one basket, like start playing because like you're not reaching to that full potential. So, and like just feel like there's a big gap between age group and where you live also. So I just saw it this year, like especially the younger guys and how our coaches had to say certain things and how certain players had to say certain things without crossing that fine line because couple years ago, it'd be like, just say how it is in Canada, and whether you take it or you don't take it. So that's how I see it.
I'd say for me, coming from St. Louis, like when you get used to playing club hockey and when you get used to playing throughout high school with the team that's your age, like I was always in 03, so I'm always lined up with 03s or well, about same skill level, whether I'm playing like club or I'm playing high school, kind of in that same mix. And then you come to play club and you just get, I would say, just a very mixed bag of people and like different cultures, like different areas of the country. And it's just like, wow, like bringing that all together. And it's like finding roles for people. And that's something that I realize is like, and I love it. It's like, it's just, you kind of get a bit of everything and it's really cool. It's like and to see how all the pieces fit together, all the different players and team, it's awesome. And so I would say that's one thing that I love to see. And like, as you get older, you stick with your core guys and then you get new freshmen coming in and it's like, man, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy how young you are. And like now we're teammates.
Yeah, they call me Unk.
Yeah.
They're like, Unk, give me some knowledge. I'm just like, what? Yeah.
So, and being a club program, I know it's not easy. And James, you just mentioned playing with different players of different skill sets. I know that can be a big time adjustment for a lot of players. And I've talked to a few coaches. The Canadian system, the American system, they're very different. They seem very similar with the skill set that players play. But it's so different. So Thomas and James, obviously, you guys have played with some top end talent. How was that adjusting to the way a student run organization of a club hockey program with different skill sets that you're learning from different players that are coming around?
I'd say like physicality in Canada is a lot higher up, and like usually, like if you're playing for like a crappy team in Canada, there's still gonna be like those really good guys that could probably make it far, but they just don't really have much passion for hockey. They just want to continue and just have a lax rest of their career. So you see those really, really good players that could have made it far, that you're still getting knowledge from. But still coming down here, we have a few players that are really good. Both captains, assistant captains, we still see a lot of good players, but they still teach a lot of things to even me or even our freshmen. And I would also say it's just like the physicality is not as like up compared to Canada and everything like that. The US and Canada and everything. So I'd say, however, you're still going to learn something from other players and everything like that. So you see a lot of hierarchy, the higher players still teaching the lower end players and everything throughout our team and everything that you don't really see in Canada as much. Usually I think IQ is more a prominent thing in Canada where you're kind of learning a lot of this stuff when you're growing up younger. It depends where you play. You see a lot of kids in the US, they don't learn some of that stuff. Depends if you want to put in a lot of money playing AAA or even higher up and stuff like that. So I'd say that's the two different things. Yeah.
I would say in terms of the adjustment, it's like any situation you get in, it's all about adapting. So my senior year, I played like on a club team. We did tryouts and everything, and I spent the whole year with the team. And you just kind of get used to it. You get used to the systems, you get used to the players, your line mates, your goalie. You get used to everything out there. That's one way that you go into it and you adapt. And you spend enough time, and that's where you build the chemistry and like anything. And what I learned was when I came to OSU, like I knew I was like, wow, some of these players like really good. And that's something that I need to adapt to. And I would say that when someone's really good, you want to do the things that they're doing to adapt and get to their level. And it's just making that transition and just getting used to the environment you're playing in. Like I would say my first Acha game, like
4 points or something like that.
that's how it started. But going from there, I just remember you mentioned Josie. She came to one of my games one time when we played Nebraska, and she came to one of our games. It was like the first series we had in Nebraska, and she said that was the most violent game of hockey I've ever watched. I was like, yeah, it is. That's like something that you have to get used to. Like that's an example. It's not just on your own team getting used to your teammates. You got to get used to, oh my gosh, my head has to be up all the time. I don't know. I can't imagine what Canada was like if you say it was more physical up there because
I think it's more controlled physical rather than like how like some Auto teams is chaos physical.
This is bodies flying. I'm going after
They're
you.
trying to hit everything they see. Instead of Canada, it's just like you're gonna bullet like it's harder hits and everything like that. Like it's just more smart, strategic. Like down south hockey, like they call it the 30 South. Some people would call it. That's what some guys on my team would call it, and it's just physical chaos.
That's the only word that you can describe, but it's fun. It's awesome.
How many players did get ejected in that game, that very physical game at Nebraska?
Well, there had to been on our team. There had to been like 2 or 3 people that got ejected. I'm trying to recall, but I think there was 2 or 3 guys that got ejected because it wasn't even just that
someone face wash
hitting back and forth. Yeah, like there was kind of a brawl. I was like, oh my goodness, and it happens a lot. Like tensions flare. Like I get it, that, and you love it because everyone out there is a competitor. Everyone wants to win, and at some point it just turns into all right, skills out the door. I'm just going after you. And that's just and you. I would say, could be kind of the instigator on that.
I got kicked out a lot this year. I remember one game, it was Mizzou. So we played like the game the day before we fought. We won that game. I hit a guy and he got so mad and just like jersey wrap, like puts the jersey over my head. I couldn't see, and I was just like swinging blindly. He was just punched me. Then our goalie got kicked out. I guess one of the players off in Mizzou like slashed him, and like our goalie and one other D-man were going at it, and then like just a big brawl happened. So like we had a lot of players kicked out.
I remember that.
And then the next game, I'm just like, guys, it's time to lock in. You guys can beat this team. So yeah, it's very interesting how you see 2 different dynamics depending on what teams you play. And
sounds
James,
like
St. Louis guys that play on Mizzou and stuff. So
it sounds like it was the Four Nations game for a minute there.
That's what it was.
Yeah, Canada's a lot better than the U.S., I'm not going to lie.
Now let's mix things up a little bit and do some fun, quick fire questions to get to know you guys a little better. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
So the first question, if you could have dinner with any hockey player, past or present, who would it be?
Do you go first?
I got to think about that. That's a great question.
I would say Matt Sundin. I grew up watching him all the time. Favorite Swedish player. So I'd say him. I looked up to him a lot when I was younger. Or even Sidney Crosby. Like, that guy is goated. So I would love to eat dinner with him and everything like that.
I would have to say, I know I'm a defenseman, but I would have to say Rick Nash. I was a huge fan of Rick Nash back when he was at Columbus, and then when he went to the Rangers, I watched that dude's highlights before games to hype me up. I was like, Rick Nash, absolutely.
Those are some great choices. The next question is going to be, what's the best advice you've ever gotten about hockey?
I'd say one of my friends, she was kind of telling me her dad was a scout for a team, and I was just sitting with her, and she was kind of telling me like, at any level you can still improve in hockey, like no matter what you play in or anything like that, there's still room for improvement and everything like that. Even if you're playing beer league, even if you're playing like tier 5 Atom hockey, you don't think you're gonna go anywhere. There's still room for improvement for anything, and just even in life also can improve on something.
Yeah,
I would say mine's pretty simple. I'd say being a competitor, I got really wrapped up in hockey, and I would like to the point where like I need to win, and if we don't win, world's ending. And that was just my whole motto going into that. And it took one coach, and I'll just keep remembering this advice, and I keep relaying it. It's just simple as have fun. It's a game. Just go out there, do your thing, and have fun. And at the end of the day, you're going to play a lot better for it.
that's some pretty solid advice. All right, so let's see. If you weren't playing hockey, what sport would you be playing?
Probably football or something like that. I got that speed. I think be like a wide receiver, even be better than Justin Jefferson. I think so. But I wasn't playing or like baseball or something like that. So I enjoyed those. I enjoyed football when I was like very young. We don't really have it in Alberta, but where I live. But or even baseball would be another good one.
Ooh, that's a good question. I'd want to say football. I'd want to say I'd be a QB or something and be great at that, but I don't know if that's necessarily me. I'd say given that I'm tall, maybe, and I did it for a little bit, I'd be like a soccer goalie, I guess. That was something I kind of enjoyed. I got to use my hands when everyone else couldn't, so that was fun. Got to taunt them.
That's pretty cool. Now, if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
I'd say flight. I think flying around would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't want to go flight because like if something's inconvenient and like you have to wait for all your friends, you can just fly there. But like you know what I'm saying? Like you can't enjoy the journey. But I'd say like super strength or something like that.
You can't enjoy the journey. You're flying.
I know you
See
can, like, but
everything.
like I could see that. But like if I'm like in a rush or something like that, it's like
You can just fly over.
yeah. But like how if I'm with my friends and stuff like that?
Well, leave them. Fly. You can fly.
No, I gotta keep my identity secret and my superpowers.
There's not a. You're not a. We're just talking about a superpower.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you go into financing something. What you want to do? You have the power of flight.
I'd say super strength.
And the last quickfire question, what's your pregame ritual or even superstition?
I don't know if that makes superstitions. Pre-game rituals, like I just usually warm up on myself. He's always like joking around, having a good time, but like
Just have fun with it.
yeah, I'd like at one point, like last year, I'd like always stay focused. And then until like our coach came up to me, he's like, when you stay too focused, you don't play good. So I just like started hanging out around James and just not really like stayed locked in before a game because I'd always put music. I was just like I started joking around with this guy and then I felt like I played better because I was like letting loose more. But he's always like joking, cracking jokes up all the time and just having fun. Like we're trying to play Suey and he's just kicking the ball out of nowhere. I'm just like trying to play a game.
Yeah, I'd say for me, I think one of our better investments for warm-ups was a football. I would just go out there. Everyone's like stretching, they're in lines. And I'm not trying to throw anyone off. If you play better by listening to music, please go for it. But for me, like I said, I just want to have fun. So my two traditions that I came up with before any travel weekend for warm-ups, I would go through the football and then I'd just go sightseeing. You and I ended up going to Nebraska again, and he and I are like, we got a lot of time before the game. Let's go check out the town. So we went downtown and we walked past their basketball stadium. Their campus was awesome, but like that's just an example of like, yeah, this is getting me ready. This is getting me ready to play today.
Yeah, just relax.
Just have fun with it. Yeah. And then I would say growing up, a tradition I had was back when I couldn't drive, my dad would drive me and he would always play the songs. He would play two songs before we got to the game. He'd play Shoot to Thrill by AC/DC and he'd play Seek and Destroy. And I remember in times where I'm just sitting there, I'm not even listening to it. He's just going crazy. And that was like a tradition I had for a while. And so every once in a while, I'll still turn it on and be like, yeah, this is what you want me to do. Give it a good listen. Yeah.
I know I said I had the last question, but I'm going to add a bonus question right here real quick. Thomas, you mentioned how James is always cracking jokes. Who is the funniest teammate on the team, and what's the best prank that has been pulled so far?
I'd say funniest would probably be James, like his impression.
It's a good answer.
Like he could do like a Cajun accent. Like it's just crazy. There's certain things he just like creates or just says. I'm just like, what? Why did you think of that? I'd say Dewey. He pulls.
Dewey's.
Yeah, he always messes with one of our other defensemen, James Copper, like just taping his gear all together. Like he's just like, you don't want to start this war because you're not going to finish it. Because he's the greatest prankster. Just somehow make something difficult when before warming up, and you just get frustrated with him. But he's actually really funny with his pranks and everything.
Oh my gosh. I love when Dewey just shows up before Jaden. He asks, is he here? I'm like, no. And then he just goes to town and he just starts taping every part of his gear. And he does this all the time. Like he did wrap his whole stick one time. He like hit his stuff in the ceiling one time. It's just awesome. Every time we come to practice, the gear's just exposed. He's like, yeah, I got time. He starts wrapping everything up. It's awesome.
So I did have a guest from the PWHL from Minnesota with the Frost, and she Dominique said that she was at Harvard for a while there, and one of the best pranks that was pulled was they put swapped out shampoo for mayonnaise, and put smelling salt or a smelling deterrent so nobody would know that it was mayonnaise. So they did that for a whole month and didn't find out till the very last moment. So.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Now let's get back into some serious stuff for a moment. Obviously, the season is over at the moment, but what was the biggest challenge you guys think you guys faced throughout the year?
You can start.
Man, I think that I would say when you have a season like that, just finding a way to stay positive. And that can be a tough thing to do. I'd say that, like, I as a team, it's hard to stay positive when things aren't going right, things aren't going your way. And so I would say that was a challenge we had. I'd say the one thing that kept us positive was like, hey, we're here, we're playing hockey, we're healthy, we're with the guys. And it's like, that's one thing you can do. And, I'd say that was a challenge sometimes throughout the year, but that's something that we always kept pushing. We're like, hey guys, you know what? Just do your thing, have fun, just keep it going, just stay positive. And I'd say that was our biggest challenge, but that's something that I think as the season continued and kept going, like that's something that we got better at. It wasn't easy, but it was something that we can continue to get better at.
Yeah, I'd say positivity also. Like, we were faced with limitations. Even our leaders, they were trying as much as they can, but just like new team and everything like that, and just certain courses of events happen that kind of like went kind of sideways. Just staying positive, and just keeping the other guys accountable as much as we can. I'm graduating this year, so I'm hoping next year to get enough players, better players that are coming in, more talent, and more guys that want to change how certain things are throughout this program and everything like that. So yeah, just that's one thing, positivity.
Hopefully, James next year, Dewey doesn't try to pull the mayonnaise prank on
He's definitely
anyone.
gonna do it.
I hope man, he's already, I'm sure after this, he's going to watch this. He's like, yep, that's it. That's what we're doing.
Obviously, you guys have been offering some great insight, but I do want to, before we wrap up, what's one piece of advice you would give to young players who want to make it to the level that you're at with club level hockey?
I'd say if they're focused on academia, make academia your first priority, but also make sure you have fun in college. A lot of kids don't have opportunity to play ACHA or even NCAA, but like just make sure you can find these opportunities to play, and for sure take a chance. I know it takes up a lot of time, and a lot of kids are just like, no, I don't want to do it because it takes a lot of time, but it's a fun experience to meet a lot of new people, things I'd never imagined I've done. Like, I've gone certain skills that I've never thought I'd ever do. So I would take every chance you can, even if you're not the caliber of NCAA or anything like that. So just maybe look into doing club hockey.
I would say that there's always good can always come in any situation. If things are going great, great. If things are going bad, it's still great because you can't grow if you succeed all the time. So if you're failing and things aren't going your way, things aren't fun, great. Learn from it, take that, and continue to push yourself forward because that's what's going to separate you from the pack. If you're winning the whole time, you're not growing. If you're failing and you're losing and things are tough, yeah, take those lessons, learn from them, push forward.
Yeah. And so I do want to add a bonus question sort of here. I know Thomas, you said you're graduating this year, and James, you'll still be at OSU next year. What is sort of one thing that you want to have as your legacy at OSU?
I'd say just legacy would probably be like just growing the sport of hockey. Like, just like I'm a big person with community stuff. I'd say that's one of the most important things. I like helping out with the Tulsa Oilers. I like the junior program, or just adult hockey, or just being involved in the community. I'd say that's a one big thing that I'd like to leave around. So these players coming in, or guys that are coming in playing next year, can continue the process of starting something big, or even just helping out with the community, because there's always stuff to be done in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and everything like that. So I'd say that's the big thing I'd like to leave.
If I could do anything, and if I would want anything to be left, thinking about it, like my hockey ability, the wins or losses, that doesn't really matter. I would say that as an assistant captain, all you really want to leave is you want to leave the right building blocks for the next people, the next guys. And I think what that looks like is the community and the group. I'm very proud of the guys we have on our team. I'm very proud of the group that we have, and I would say as a something I want to continue to leave for them is just you continue to have that, and you follow and you create a culture where it's not just guys playing hockey, it's a brotherhood. And I would say that that's something that I want to leave, and that I continue, as I have this year with some great guys on my team, and I've become really close, more than I could have ever imagined. That's something that I want OSU to continue to have. I don't care how many wins they have. I don't care how many losses they have. What I want from them is I want to establish a brotherhood. So
And James, I'm gonna have this one bonus question for you because your sister Josie said you guys are all very competitive siblings. So who is the most competitive in your family? Like which one of your siblings is the most competitive?
That's oh my gosh. You should see a family game night. It turns into the most competitive. Like I'm thinking about all of them, and like every time I'm thinking they're all competitive. I'll say this. I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna say Josh. I would say even when I was a little brother, he and I often competed head to head, whether it be on Xbox, ping pong, pickleball. That's one big thing he and I have gotten into. And he will not let me win. Even as a little kid, he would not let me win. And now I'm getting closer. I just can't quite beat him yet. He's my height, he's an athlete, more of an athlete probably. Yeah. But that is one thing. I would say he's the most competitive. And one of these days, I'm going to beat him. I'm going to do it. But he's the most competitive. If I get up on a couple points and I start taunting him, his mind turns like, but yeah, you're going down. So yeah,
Well,
it's him.
well, James, you might have to go and play like you're playing against Nebraska to
Yeah.
beat him. Obviously, Thomas and James, thank you for joining me today. It's been awesome to talk to you both about your journeys, the Oklahoma State hockey program, and what makes your team tick. Best of luck for you guys in your careers, and I hope that you guys continue doing big things. Of course, we'll be back next week with another exciting guest, but until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep loving the game.
Thank you.